Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 91, where I had the joy and pleasure to have one of the most energetic, enthusiastic people I've had on the podcast for a little bit of time. Her name is Xina Gooding Broderick, and we talked about a number of things. She is a executive coach, business owner, author, and yeah, we talked about the lockdown, COVID. We talked about how she is helping ladies, mothers, with her podcast and called Mother of Abundance. And yeah, I've got to say, we talked about a whole host of subjects and topics, and yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. So please sit back, enjoy the podcast, and yeah, have a great day. Peace. Haha. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Okay, we are on episode, 91. Today on the podcast, I am very privileged to have Xina Gooding Broderick on there. I'm just going to refer to her as Xina because back in the day, there was Xina the Warrior Princess. I love that show. And yeah, I never thought I'd actually have the opportunity to meet someone who's called Xina. Oh, by the way, she is an executive coach, business owner, author, and Ned. I don't know what that is, but nevertheless, Xina, how are you?
I'm great. And I always say that I am a princess. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a princess.
Mhm.
And Ned is a non-executive director.
Non-executive director.
Yep.
Perfect. Yes, how have you been so far?
Do you know what? I have been fantastic. I have been really, really fantastic. And I need to give this balance because we know what's going on. Right now, we're recording this during the pandemic. I'm here in Leeds, West Yorkshire. We're in some sort of semi kind of lockdown thing going on. And I have had COVID. My husband's had COVID. My son has had COVID. My sister's had COVID. Her husband had COVID. Let's just say we've had COVID, right? and and yet I have to say I'm feeling glad to be alive right now. I'm feeling kind of still infused with gratitude. I've come out the other end. I can't complain.
Yes, this is the thing. I've got to say it. Like with regards to all your family being struck down with COVID and currently northeast of the country being kind of locked down at this present time,
Yep.
which it's lockdown 2.0 this time. It's confusing. What I mean?
Even more confusing.
Yes, you seem to have very high spirits. What has kept your sort of positive demeanor?
Well, I have to say there's a couple of things. Naturally, I am an optimist. That is my natural way of being, been that way all of my life. Cannot tend to see the brighter side of things. Although if you ask my mom, she might differ. She might disagree. She might say I was miserable when I was little because I didn't know how to sulk like a professional. Yeah, but aside from that, I'm a fairly positive person by nature.
Yeah.
And also my family business, I am a funeral director. And I think when you're kind of faced with death on a regular basis, you could go one of two ways. You can be a little bit serious and straight faced about the whole thing, or you could think, flipping heck, this is real. I got to live my life to the full. There's no messing here. I got to get this right. So I'm not really looking for reasons to be upset. I'm looking for reasons constantly to be happy. And you know what, Miwa, I've got so many reasons to be happy. I feel very blessed right now.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. With regards to your job and what you deal with, when we were just talking beforehand, the sort of deaf side of things, not the most comfortable subject matter for myself.
Yep.
But the whole thing, what I find, and this is the thing, like when you're in your sort of early years of your life, like the specter of death is kind of a stranger to you. It's like that thing what happens to other people outside of your group and stuff like this. As time's gone by, and like, yeah, that parents have gone, friends have gone, like, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, oh yes, now I must live life to the full. I can't be holding myself back. I must seize life, seize the day, make things happen. And then about 4 weeks later, you're doing the same old. Like, so I can imagine when it's your business, having to deal with that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's not so much of a, you can't really say, yeah, death is not a thing. You know, it's there. It's ever present, always in your like sort of like forefront, like not even in the sort of periphery. Like
definitely. And I think as well, because I'm also an executive coach, and service is one of my core values. And I believe that because I am naturally an optimist, and because I have the reality that we really do need to live life to the full, because tomorrow is promised to nobody, I see it as a little bit like a mission of mine, a little bit of a calling of mine. So every conversation that I have, I try and make sure it's a positive one. I try to help people wherever possible, where they want the help. Obviously, I won't hound anybody, but I do believe that I have an important role to play for myself and for my family. As an influencer in my family as well, I need to leave a positive legacy.
Like influencer of your family. Look,
oh yeah.
Like, yeah, no, the whole thing, when you say the term influencer, everyone thinks of social media and everything like that, but no one actually sort of, I think it's kind of lost that you can be an influencer of your family, of your friendship group, and you know what? You're most probably going to make much more of a profound impact on the people you hold closest and dearest to you, rather than
definitely. I'll tell you something, and this is no word of a lie. When my little boy comes into our bedroom on a morning, he literally gets a round of applause and a cheer. When my big son, we're really lucky to have a wide range, age range of sons here, from 26 all the way down to 9 years old. And I'm fortunate that my 26-year-old lives with us. He's great to live with. My 21-year-old has just gone back to university in Nottingham, and I'm already missing him. And then we've got our 9-year-old here. We've got our other son, who is 23, and he lives independently with his fiancée and our grandchildren. And when they come, honest to God, when they get a round of applause. When my husband Peter comes in, he gets a round of applause, he gets a hug and a kiss, he gets greeted like a champion. Because my way of thinking is, am I really going to wait for someone to acknowledge my family as celebrities? I'm not waiting. I call my husband sir. And some people might think, oh, that's a little bit, that's kind of going against the feminist grain. It's nothing to do with that. We've known each other since we were children. And I called him that since we were teenagers, and male friends. And I call my sons sir as well. But I'm not waiting for my husband to be knighted before he gets called sir, when he's a nice, decent dude. You know, I might as well do it myself. So this thing about influencers and celebrity, my mum's my influencer. My sister, oh my God, I just adore my big sister. I've got like gaga eyes for my big sister. I am like a platonic groupie for my sister. She's my celebrity. I love people who are in my circles, people who make me happy, people who bring me joy. Miwa. The name, it's all in the name.
Okay. Look, like, you know, look, your check is in the post. Don't cash it right now. wait for a long time. But don't cash it right now. Yeah, it's like I am loving your energy. I'm loving it all. Like, yeah. But
I'm just meeting you halfway, because I am a consumer of podcasts. anyway, I like listening. I love the spoken word.
Yeah.
And I listen to yours. And I have to tell you this, some positive feedback for you. When you introduce your show, you go, woo, like that. And I'm like, that is so cool. And I'm like,
Well,
yeah, let's do this. Let's listen to the
like,
show, me.
hey, what can I say? Like, I would put it down to like, yeah, illegal narcotics or like, yeah, caffeine. But like, no, as you can see, I'm drinking a Pepsi Max, no caffeine on my side. And yes, yeah, getting anything illegal in like lockdown Britain, no, don't do it.
Not at all.
Hello, officer. Yeah, nothing at all. Just going on my happy way. But yeah, like, yeah. Oh my God. Like, yeah, bringing this energy, this positivity. Like, yeah, with regards to being a like speaker, how has that served you? Because like the world of speaking is, how can I say right now, it is a bit of a strange one to even get into.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because since the pandemic, I've been asked to speak so many times. I have been speaking a lot. So because I'm a professional woman, I'm Black, you know, with Black Lives Matters. I've been asked to speak. I know you wouldn't have noticed if I didn't tell you. So I had to bring it to your attention.
Thank you very much.
So women in business, I get called to speak about that. Because I'm a funeral professional, people have been calling me to speak about COVID. Because I am an executive coach, I have been called to speak about positivity in difficult times. So I've been from different angles with what's going on internationally. I don't think I've had to speak quite so much ever before. So it's just very different. It's like this, you know, zooming conversations, which suits my personality type 100%, because you might not get this, so I'm going to tell you, I am like 100% extrovert, which probably wouldn't surprise you. But what might surprise you is that I'm also 100% introvert. If you could get that, if you could do the maths, which clearly I don't. But I'm 50-50.
Yeah, I'm out there.
50-50.
I'm out there.
Well, yeah, it's so if I'm around people like this is my comfort zone. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. But if it comes to getting dressed and getting ready and going out, no, I'd rather stay in my house. I'd rather stay in my house and cook something nice and sit down and eat it. I'd rather stay in and watch TV on a Friday evening with my little boy. So I'm very homely. So public speaking like this, result, 100% result.
Excellent. So what was your first public speaking gig?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Let's go back. Gosh, that's decades now. I used to live in London. I lived there for 20 years. I did my degree down there at South Bank University. I think it's called London's South Bank or something now. Switch the words around somehow.
Yeah.
And I was an active member of my African Society, and they had a club night called Black Pepper. I used to sing as well. So me and the president of the African Society, Alex O'Loughlin, who I'm still really good friends with, he and I were the co-hosts for the Black Pepper show. And it was really popular. So I became a little bit like a ghetto superstar. I remember once I was temping at I think it was called Rail Track at the time, now Network Rail. This is showing my age here. And there was a lady that I worked with and said, oh, there's somebody in the other department who really wants to meet you. She's asked me, do you work with Xina? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, can you introduce me? And apparently this lady had seen me co-hosting Black Pepper and really wanted to meet me and was like probably behaving like a fan. And I was a little bit blown away, I have to say. So yeah, I would say for over 20 years, I've been speaking. My sister has been married for 20 years now, and I did a speech at her wedding, which members of the family still talk to me about. It was a little bit like this, you know, driven with enthusiasm. So I think that they kind of were, you know, it was memorable. I've told you already how I feel about my sister. So that
Yes.
kind of came out in the way that I was speaking, you know, very enthused about the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, all I got to say is the way you're coming across as a super fan for your sister, like put it this way, I would say it's borderline Japanese fanatical fan, borderline.
Luckily, she's quite laid back and so cool with the whole thing and very humble. So yeah, it doesn't really go to her head. She's like, oh, I love you too, our kid. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I could imagine that. Like if the technology of today was there when you were at London South, let's just call it London South Bank for now. Yeah. Doing black pepper. Oh, I think with the energy you provide, the sort of like, how can I say, the bounce, the zazz, je ne sais quoi. I don't know what. I think you guys would have been like really like having something big, having something really large.
It was really big. It was really big and so much fun to do. And Alex, he's just, you know, he's such a comedian, really, really funny. So we had a fantastic rapport on stage as well. I was a little bit like the straight person and he was just joking about, and we both really love music. And as I said, I used to perform as well sometimes, but mainly was a co-host, and it was just great. It was a fantastic experience. And then I think I kind of left it for a bit. Every now and then people might ask me to speak, but I didn't consider myself a professional speaker. Yeah. And, you know, professional speaking, it spans a few things, I should say, including training and lecturing. And I did training as well. I was a trainer at Network Rail too. So I was able to use my professional speaking skills and was able to speak to members of the public and think off the top of my head. And I work better with bullet points than with scripts. And that was from my sister's wedding day and from not having a scripted show at Black Pepper either. We kind of roughly knew what we were doing, but, you know, being on stage at a nightclub show, you can't really be walking on with a script as such. It would just kill the whole vibe, you know?
I totally understand. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, like with that, like, okay, yeah, business owner, but yeah, author. What book did you like write?
I wrote Productivity Hacks for Ambitious Mothers.
Really?
Yeah, because, and I've written another book as well. It's more a workbook, and that is Planning Your Best Life and Living It Every Day. And I think it has to be a template for living. It really does supply the opportunity for a person to get to sit down and really think about what they like. We don't really do those kind of exercises at school. And I think if we did, we'd have a better understanding of what we want to do professionally, the kind of people we want to spend the rest of our lives with, the kind of people we want to raise, the kind of environment we want to create families in. So those are the two books I'd say I'm most proud of. I'm probably most proud of Planning Your Best Life and Living It Every Day, because the people that have used that book have told me that it's really changed their lives and their perspective. And when they lose their way and they're like, oh, what the hell am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? Do I even like this job? Should I even be doing it? They can go back to that workbook and how they've completed it, and it will set them back on their individual path that's been tailor created by them for them. I've just provided the framework.
Yeah, like this is the thing. I think with regards to what's been going on with the world and everyone who like furlough's coming to an end, and believe you me, I was one of the furlough massives, and like, yeah, my sort of that job's now gone away, but it's one of those things where you've got to get with that. But planning your, like, let me just say, going to plan your best life. I think there's going to be many a person out there who are going to be like, oh, like the world's been this way and the world's been that. I've been doing the job which I haven't been happy with, or that so-called dream job which is going to be around forever and a day for me is now gone.
Yeah.
What can I extract from the here and now to make it my best life, to do what I want to do?
So important.
And if people have been taking that time to have that self-reflection, that's great. But I think there's going to be some people who haven't, and they need to sort of like go, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking about this during, like, earlier on when it really was lockdown, and not lockdown where you can go to the pub, but real lockdown. And I was thinking, just saying.
You're locked down, but you can go to the pub.
You can go to the pub, yeah.
But make sure you have that pub.
Well, this is it. Yeah, go to the pub. And I was thinking, I wonder how many people will be using this time for introspection and reflection. There are some of us who can, who were able to do that. And I think we're some of the lucky ones. And then there were others who were so much thrown into turmoil and turbulence that they were firefighting. And it was like, this is not the time for me to sit back and think of something wishy-washy or woo-woo. I've got to work out how I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to work out, am I still going to be able to get my chemotherapy? Because, you know, some chemo treatments were stopped because people weren't able to go to hospitals. And it got really, really hard, you know, and still is for many, many people. And that's why I always say, when people say, how are you? And I'm like, I'm great, I'm fantastic. I always try and give that balance, because I recognize that I am fortunate. I'm really, really fortunate. I have support that a lot of people, particularly during lockdown, people who were isolated really, really felt isolated. If they didn't before, if they didn't even know they were isolated before, it was right up and personal in their faces that they're definitely isolated now. And, you know, elderly members of our community, our wider community, having to work out, well, do I choose death from loneliness or death from COVID? They're not good choices to be faced with.
So, option one, the gun. Option two, the arsenic.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy mad. So that's where I do keep it real. And I recognize that whereas a lot of us will have had time for reflection and introspection, some of us really will not have. And my heart goes out to them, and I acknowledge them as well.
Yeah, like I think the one thing, when I say one thing, that's not true. There's a couple of things I think which have been sort of glossed over with regards to the realm of lockdown and everything like this. One has been kind of the mental health aspect of it, because even though there's some people who go, oh, I don't need people, I'm like, you know what I mean, I'm a little bit of a hermit and stuff like this. And some people don't realize how much of their support mechanisms come from outside when that was all cut off.
So true.
It was just like, what do I do? How can I cope? And like, yeah, I think there are people now, I think, which are just a little bit like, I'm not going to really go back with that, because it was worse having that than what you're now.
Yeah, definitely. My family, I don't know if you're gathering, but we're quite tight. We're really quite close-knit family. And that is by design. It's not by chance. Part of my legacy was to introduce Family Day into my family. So once a month, either together in person or by Zoom, we get together, we cook big food, we have a lot of fun, and we have love and laughter, and we share what's been going on for us for the past month. And I implemented that a few years ago on Mother's Day. I was taken out for a Mother's Day meal and was asked to speak. And I said, this is what I want. I want going for, I don't want to have to wait a year for this. I feel true wealth when I'm surrounded by my loved ones, and I don't want to feel broke for a year.
No.
I want this every month.
Yeah.
You know, I want this every month. So we do that, and we're quite tight, and that has become a really popular family tradition for us now. And having to work out how we're still going to incorporate my mum in that. She doesn't live far from me in Leeds. My mum's also in Leeds. you know, that became quite tricky because I'm seeing the realities of COVID and I've had it. And I'm like, man, I can't give that to my mum, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, she's saying, well, I really want to come. And I'm saying, I'm afraid to see you. I'm literally afraid because how am I? I'm an affectionate time. I hug up and kiss up my mum and
No, I
all
never
of that.
heard of that
And
from
it's like, I know you would have thought I'd be hardcore and cold in it.
you. Yeah.
But, you know, having my mum at my home and she's standing at my gate and I'm not even able to invite her inside for a cup of tea. And that's,
Oh no. Wait. I lost you for a second.
yeah. So yeah, I'm seeing her at the gate and I can't hug her, I can't kiss her, and she's standing like 6 feet away from me, and
Mm.
I can't even offer her a cup of tea. That was hard for me. That
Mm.
was really hard it was hard for both of us. So no matter what, she's in my bubble. She's got to stay in my bubble, and we're looking at, now my youngest son has gone back to school, how we can still protect my mum, and we're doing the Zoom and it's mandatory. Before it was like, oh, we'll catch up if we can.
Yeah.
Now it's my mum's a blogger as well, and I write, so we get together on Thursdays on Zoom and we both write. It's like sharing a virtual office. We'll get up and make ourselves a cup of tea and have a chat and all the rest of it. She'll be there, I'll be here, you know, so we make sure we work together and talk, and in between that we'll be chuntering and chatting and stuff like that. And she's definitely coming with us for Christmas. No two ways about it.
Yeah.
No two ways about it.
Because this is the thing. Okay, like maybe it's like me personally, but like it's a case of, I think for maybe a lot of people, I might be talking out of term here, but I think with regards to the whole COVID thing,
Yeah.
everyone knows it's there. Everyone, like, there's no avoiding that. But I don't know how many people have had that sort of like direct sort of like, it's actually affected me this on a personal level, because like, yeah, I think my lady's like sister, she had it, and like there may have been like people were saying, oh, I had it in maybe, I feel like I had it in January, February.
Yeah.
And like, but it's not like, I'm one of my best mates, I believe he had some type of flu, but
Right.
it wasn't, didn't have it confirmed because there was no test then. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how many people can go, yes, I have had like the COVID directly, because you like, apart from speaking to you, and I've spoken to a number of people over the podcast, you know what I mean? You're one of the only few people which was like, I had it.
Yeah.
My husband, kids, well, everyone had it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how personal it's been for quite a lot of people.
Right, I'm with you. That might be what I don't really watch the TV and stuff like that. I told you that's a tool for us for family bonding. So I know major news. I know what I'm supposed to do in Leeds during this lockdown that we've got. I know things that I need to know. So I'm not really sure what the anti-mask movement really is about. I'm not really sure I completely understand that. But I wouldn't argue with somebody about it. They're entitled to their opinion. That's cool, because I don't do arguing.
Yeah.
I just do my thing, you do yours. Everyone's happy. Yeah. So what I would say is I'm kind of wondering if they've been around someone who's been affected by it, or if they've known anyone who's died from it, and if they don't want to wear a mask, then, you know, that's all good, but just don't come near me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, the whole thing is, some people think it's their God-given right to do this, that, the other, and it's like a case of like, look, you do respect other people's rights as well.
Yeah.
And like, with regard, look, I can't stand wearing a mask myself, but I put the mask on if it helps bring this thing to a close that much quicker. Put on the mask. Like it might be a case of, remember that 2020, 2021, when you had to wear a mask? Yeah. Woo. 2031, we don't need to do that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And my thing as well is, if there is some great big massive hoax or conspiracy theory or whatever, then you know what, I won't feel a fool, because I know that I will have had my best intentions to look after myself, my family, and people in my wider community. So I don't, for me personally, it's not a big deal, you know, to put a mask on. It's not really a big deal. And I feel better when I'm around other people and I'm wearing a mask. I know it does not protect me from them, and I know I'm kind of protecting them from me, but I just feel better when I'm wearing a mask around a lot of people.
Yeah. No, no, that is perfectly fine. That's
Yeah.
perfectly fair. And like, yeah, like this is the thing. Like when the rule of six, which I got to say is one of the most ridiculous names I've ever heard for like a thing. Remember the rule of six? Ah, the rule of six. Yes. It's like yeah, 5 is
What is
5.
it?
6 is on the limit. 7, no. It's like crazy. But
Unless you're in a pub.
well, yes.
This way.
Yeah,
Fill the pub.
and when you get kicked out at 10 o'clock, it's the rule of whoever's near you.
Yeah.
like that's something what made me laugh is like they did the 10 o'clock curfew for pubs, but they didn't do anything for local supermarkets, which will be selling alcohol. Like it's like you come out of the pub. I still want to go out drinking a little bit sauce. Oh, look, there's a supermarket. You're kind of like, okay, but that is ridiculous. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just watching what I've got to do and living my best life around it, because that's the only thing I can control, really. And we're getting on. I think we're very fortunate as well, because we know that during lockdown things like domestic violence and stuff has increased and all that kind of stuff. But this is why, one of the many reasons that I say I'm living in gratitude. We get on really well here. You know, I'm at home, and up until recently, my son Jacob was living with us as well. And as I said, he's gone back to Nottingham now for uni. But my husband, myself, and my 2 sons who were here, we get on really, really well. So being in this environment when we were having to spend a lot more time together, particularly before my youngest son went back to school, wasn't so painful for us. You know, it was kind of quite cool, you know, seeing one another and having a group of us who could hug one another, you know. So I just take the lemons that life throws at me and make good, tasty lemonade, man. That's all I can do.
Like, apart from Friday nights when it was the TV battle royale, but hey, that's another story. Hey,
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, see, I remember.
You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Like, I love it. I've lost the people. I've lost that. Like,
sorry.
No. Oh, brilliant. With regards to, okay, why did you start Mothers of Abundance?
I started it because I think of the influencers, mothers potentially have the biggest power to influence. And this is not a sexism thing at all, because I love men. I am a feminist and I love men. I'm raising 4 men. I have raised 4 men, and I have a wonderful husband. I'm blessed with a truly wonderful husband. So this is definitely not a sexism thing. It's about, you know, that thing about the hand that rocks the cradle, rules the world. And it's about who is really in and around our children, and our children are the future. So if women are struggling with a lot of the things that we struggle with, like inferiority complexes, imposter syndrome, not living life to our fullest, serving others before we serve ourselves. So I feel as though we're pouring from a half empty cup, and what power we would have if that cup was full. So I feel that it's a calling to help mothers to fill their cups and think really carefully about how they influence their households,
Mm-hmm.
their families, and particularly if they are in leadership roles, and they may not even realize by being a parent, you're automatically in a leadership role. You just may not acknowledge that, and you may be a poor leader, but that doesn't mean you're not in a leadership role, but by being in that leadership role, you can influence your home, you can create a culture in your home and family life. And if you are in a leadership outside of the home, you can influence the people you are leading outside of the home as well, in a positive way, from a positive place, because you're sorted. You've got really good healthy mindset, and you're infusing that into the people you are leading, so you are able to lead with a good example, set a good example. So there's no point in saying to your children, believe in yourself, you can be anything you want to be, you're beautiful. And in the meantime, you're looking in the mirror in front of the same child saying, oh, I look so ugly without my makeup on, or man, I'm so tired all the time, and but I've still got this left to do. I wish I could do things differently. And so, you're not necessarily recognizing that the messages that you're sending to your children are conflicting. So you've got to be what you're telling your children they can be. But because we're not taught these things from school, I feel I'm here to teach it.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission to teach it. That's it. And when we go into the workplace, you don't have to be mean, horrible boss because you've always had a mean, horrible boss, or because you're coming from such a negative place because you're burnt out and you're hating your job and you're hating your home life and you're hating all this. You come to work and you bring all that with you. No, man, you make yourself happy. You're in a leadership role. You get to choose. You can say, I can go to work and I can positively influence my team today. I can actually do that. That is something I have the superpower to do that. I could wake up in the morning and instead of telling my children, eat your breakfast, it's good for you, while I'm sat there not eating my breakfast, I can actually choose something I really like to eat that will take me next to no time to prepare, and sit and say, it's a good job we're eating our breakfast, isn't it? Because we've got a few things we've got to sort out today. We're going to do it the best, give it our best shot. I'm wanting to influence women in such a positive and powerful ways, particularly mothers. And this is because I am speaking from my truth and from my authenticity. You've probably gathered I've been a mother for quite some time now. I have a 26-year-old. And I've been through being a single parent. I have been a parent with money. I have been a parent who is absolutely destitute, where I'm having to choose between buying groceries or putting money on the gas card or putting money on the electricity key. I'm in a wonderful marriage now, but my first marriage was the pits. I've kissed a couple frogs before I got here, so I know what it's like to have a fantastic household, and I know what it's like to be raising children in a dysfunctional household too. And I believe that, I have been through those situations to help people who are either there or where I am now, and help accelerate their path, sharpen their leadership skills in a way that serves them, really, really, really serves them, doesn't burn them out. I'm really big into well-being, not overwhelm. Well-being first, and from that everything just springs forth. I told you already, my family, they're my celebrities, hands down. There's no way, and I love Oprah Winfrey, God bless you, Oprah, but there's no way I could treat Oprah Winfrey like a celebrity and not treat my mum the same way. My mum, who changed my nappies and fed me my milk and nourished me and taught me how to read, and I'm a bibliophile and a nerd, and yeah, thanks for that, mummy. But for me, it's all about really embracing your wealth. And for me, your wealth is your relationships. That's what really enriches us. If we focus on those, whether it's in the home or it's in the workplace or it's on your podcast, like you saying woo when you're introducing your podcast, that's just infusing a bit of joy. That's dropping in some joy and giving a real good energy. And it's like, yeah, let's do this, me. Yeah, let's listen. I'm ready. You know, we can do those little things and inspire people and not even know it. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
So, like with that, how are you sort of targeting your sort of message out there? Is it through like podcasts? Like you mentioned, your mother does a blog. Are you doing that over YouTube? Like, how is that? Like, how is that? Workshops, even? Yeah.
Well, I've done the workshop, so that's where the workbook, Planning Your Best Life and Living It Every Day, they came from workshops that I've done. And my background, the whole planning thing, in another life, I was a Prince 2 qualified and APMP qualified project manager. So planning is that's my thing, man. I love planning. But to me, it's about infusing joy into a plan. Otherwise, it's just a boring plan. That's why people think a plan and roll their eyes. That's because...
Whoa. Princess 2, wait, what? How? How did you become a funeral director? How?
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like, continue. We're going to come back to that.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, planning is my jam. And I'm like, we're taught from young to plan, right? But we're given the plan. We're given the plan at school. There's your timetable. 9 o'clock, you're at registration. 9:10, you've got double English. Then you got to be here. Then it's break time. Then you're given that and you do it. And then you go to work. You kind of know you've got meetings to fit in and around your work. You might have gone to uni. You might have gone to college. Same timetable. So when it comes to our planning, planning things for our home, it's non-existent, because applying a plan to home life, it's never taught to us that we're even allowed to do that. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we got to do that.
Now, I hear you. But what I would say with regards to school, like
yes.
I would say they don't actually teach you to plan. They teach you
that's true.
A routine. Like
that's true.
They set out your agenda and you follow that routine every time, and then you have your lunch and you go home. Like basically follow the routine. So when that routine becomes your work life, you are in. It's not this sort of independent free thinking. That's how I see it. Like
I have to agree. Yeah, we're kind of coming at the same thing from two different angles, and it's like they're giving you their plan. You're not, and it's a routine that you formulate, and you know where you're going because they already told you.
Yeah,
you know. But we got to know where we're going, and because we told ourselves, and that's got to be infused with things that bring us joy, and that's why this is why you see this. This is why you see my smile. Because I know what brings me joy, and I do it every day on purpose. It's not by accident. Joy is part of my spiritual practice. That's my religion. Be happy. That's my religion. That's that. I'm worshiping at the altar of happiness, bringing joy to people, having joy in my life. So my plan is interesting. You got to believe my plan, my schedule is interesting. I speak to people I love. I have interactions that are meaningful. You know me when my life is not it's not all roses. You know that I had, my grandchildren had to get COVID tested, and my youngest son, he had coughs and sneezes, and me thinking, oh my goodness, I gotta take it back out of school again. There is disruption. And one of the things that I do when I'm teaching abundant mothers is that I say, don't think that it's all perfect. It's really not. I have to keep it real. And I say things have to fit around my essentials. My essentials are rest, eating good food, having fun. But I have to rest, and I have to eat good food, and I have to have fun. Everything else has to slot around it. Yeah. And that's why I'm able to stay this way. So you asked me where do people contact me? Yes, I do have the Mother of Abundance podcast.
Yeah,
I've got my motherofabundance.com website, and that blog has been going for a couple of years now. And I've got a Facebook group where we support one another, because I'm really aware of the fact, and it's probably coming across in this episode, that whilst I'm sorted and I got a fantastic husband and great home life and all the rest of it, it wasn't always the case. And I don't want to leave anyone behind. I don't want to leave anyone behind. and that is my thing, where, you know, we sometimes we want to move forward in our lives, and there's no one around who gets it, who gets our ambition, who gets our drive, who gets we want to do something that perhaps no one's ever done before in our family. Or we might be with a man who's intimidated by you wanting to make progress and is literally physically or mentally holding you back. Or friendship circles who have the bucket of crab mentality. Do you know about bucket of crabs mentality?
Yes, I do.
You know, try to drag you back down if they
Yep.
see you trying to get out of wherever you are. So wherever you are on your journey, I like to know that an ambitious mother can come into the Mother of Abundance Facebook group, get a warm welcome, set the goals, be propelled and held up, you know, move forward. There's no jealousy. We're not doing that childish, flipping, stupid attitude. We don't do jealousy. To me, it's all about inspiration. If someone is doing really, really well, understand this is God telling you it's real and it's possible. Watch how it's done. Emulate. Don't get vexed. Getting angry about someone doing well is absolutely pointless. It's not going to help you.
It's no. I know. Like, this is the thing. Like, with regards to a number of things, with regards to the sort of bucket of crabs mentality, when you're in that sort of group or peer group, where, like, yes, sometimes it comes from a place. It comes from a place of goodness. Sometimes it just comes from a place of negativity, just because, yeah, someone sees you like pushing for something quite ambitious, and they're like, "Oh, but what if you fall?" No. Stay here. Where it's safe with us.
Where
Where
it's
it's comfortable.
safe.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean. And like other people, like the other like negative stream, which is like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, you think you're too
like,
nice.
Yeah, just like, you think you're better than me? You think you're better than us? Well, and like, you know what I mean. And it comes from a place of just like small-mindedness and jealousy. Like, what I would simply say, if there is more opportunities and chances where birds of a feather can flock together, that is always a good thing. Because look, with regards to yourself, like going through all of this sort of different stages of like parenthood, from being a single parent to, as you said, a parent who had good means, to a parent who is actually destitute. And look, Lord knows, I know the pain of if you've got a gas card or electric key, if you lose gas card, you just put money on.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God, there's no pain quite like it. You know what I mean? But it's a case of knowing, like, having people to go, yeah, I've been there. I was that person who had to get that gas card. I had it all. And like, yeah, then I lost it all. And yes, I had nothing and I made it. Like, I think there's not enough people talking and circulating. Look, for you, it's mothers. Like, for me, I'd say, yeah, just human beings in general.
Yeah.
Because everyone's sort of so tied down to their sort of little insular groups. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's a large majority of people.
Yeah.
They're not actually looking, or if they are looking, they can't actually find these sort of support groups to help them, like, oh, yeah, this is the path I took. Don't necessarily have to take the same path, but
True.
if you see the same, like, certain avenues which you can go down, yeah, I'm at this juncture. Has anyone had anything similar? Yeah, I did this. Oh, yeah, I did this. I did this. Okay, I'll take that and I'll take that. And
yeah,
it through.
It can be so helpful, can't it? If you see someone who's done it and you know you want that, it just, I don't know. I don't really get the whole jealousy thing. It doesn't really, but then it's probably just not a logical emotion. Maybe it's not something to be gotten, and it comes from a place of insecurity, I expect. And I know that I've got a very healthy self-esteem, so it's not really going to be jealousy. It's not going to be an emotion that would serve me and what I'm here for. So
yeah,
no need for it.
No, and this is the thing, when people are operating from that realm of jealousy and, like, you know what I mean, that realm of negativity, when they're putting all that energy into, like, going, you got this and you got that and you don't deserve it, and like, it's like not sort of like chasing their little piece, what they can have. Look, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, right? Okay, look, I'm not saying everyone can do it, but for the people who really want to go for it, yeah. But
Let them go for it. Yeah.
put your time and energy towards that, because all that energy you put towards negativity, like going, this is so wrong, that's so wrong, and you don't deserve this, everything like this. If you looked at yourself, put a little bit of concentration on that and put like work and effort, all that energy you're putting into this negativity, into something positive for yourself,
Yep.
the sky could be your limit. Like,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. It just, I don't compute. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get, like, also something I don't get, like, nice little segue. Yeah, Prince's too, and like this. How?
Okay, so when I graduated from uni, it was when I was around my uni times that I was broke, by the way. So when my eldest Malachi was quite young, I knew I needed to go back to uni because I left school with like 2 GCSEs, nothing good really, nothing that impressive. And Malachi was unplanned. I thought, I've got no education to speak of. I knew my relationship with his dad wasn't really that good. And I thought, well, I feel at some point I'm going to be raising this child on my own. So I need to get an education so that I'll be able to afford to look after this child. So when he was a baby, I went to uni, and it was whilst I was there that I was really poor, really poor. Then I left uni and only seemed to be able to get secretarial temping positions, which is what I'd done before I'd done my degree. And I got kind of depressed. I was not happy because I thought, here I am, thousands of pounds in debt, doing exactly what I did before. So I thought, I got to think like a man. There's none of the men on my degree are doing secretarial work. What are they doing? What are they doing? And a lot of them had gone into IT, because I did a business degree. I majored in marketing. Some people majored in IT and finance, and there were different streams. The stream I took was marketing. I thought, right, well, where's the money? Where am I going to be able to look after Malachi? I always get my son's names confused. Which winds them up, always winds them up. It's like, how many more years do you need to know us before you'll know what our names are? The fact they've all got biblical names doesn't really help, but yeah.
Malachi, oh God, no.
So Malachi gets wound up about it the most because he's the eldest. He's like, I'm 26. When are you going to know my name? So yes, Malachi, also known as Kai, was tiny then. And I decided to see if I could get into IT, because it seemed to me that some of the graduates were making a reasonable living from IT. So I sort of squeezed my way into that. And this is when I was working at Network Rail. And they sort of helped me in that area when we were doing a little bit of small projects and IT projects. So I became desktop support in IT. So I used to help people with their computers. When I did the training, that was end user support, and that was more to do with helping people using the Microsoft bundle. So if they didn't know how to underline in Word, I would go and show them how to do it. If lots of people didn't know how to do it, I'd put together a course and do a workshop, and that's where I was doing the professional speaking and training. So I would put together workshops to help them with Excel and PowerPoint and things like that. See where there was a need, and then put together a course for that. So I did that, and then I got married to my first husband and moved to Spain for a bit. He stayed here in the UK, and that was the beginning of the end of a very short marriage. I think it didn't even last 18 months. When I came back to England, I got into consultancy work proper, moved more into program office support.
Right.
And that was in structural engineering. So rather than being at Network Rail, now I moved over to Transport for London, and was helping with that sort of the infrastructure on that side of things. Did that for a while. And this was after my first marriage was over. Re-met my husband, I'm married to now, who we were born on the same street in Leeds, and came back to married him, came back to Leeds, and could not get any consultancy work. could not get any consultancy work at all for love nor money hearing needs. But what I did get is a project support role, which for me was like a huge demotion, but it was what I could get. And they put me through my Prince 2 training, and they put me through my my APMP professional qualifications, which I think they expire after 5 years or something like this. And that was a long time ago, but I am a trained project management professional. I just happen to do very specific projects now called funerals, which have a beginning of a project, a middle of a project, the end of a project.
It's like beginning and there's a definite end. Like if there isn't an end, it's like he's come back. Oh,
no. Yeah, that would be the kind of project that I would be too terrified to manage. But yeah, the normal run-of-the-mill ones, yeah. And I'm more, I have to say, it's very rare now that I'm hands-on in the funeral parlour. My husband Peter, he's more hands-on. My sons, Joshua, particularly Joshua, he's the one who lives independently with his partner and children. He and Peter mainly work in the business now, and Malachi, he helps out sometimes. And the third partner, because it's me, my sister and my husband are equal partners. My sister lives remotely in London, and we're remote workers, so I help more with the strategic side. But if they need anything hands-on, like if I need to chauffeur for a family, one of the limousines, or if I'm asked, because I'm asked to direct from time to time, they'll request me specifically, and I'll go and do that. So yeah, you asked as well, how did I move from being in project management, the type that people normally think of when they think of project managers, into, owning a funeral parlour as a family business? And the short answer to that is my father set the business up. My father set the business up when my sister and I were still living in London. I re-met Peter, got married and moved back to London, and the funeral parlour was already up. So Daddy set up the parlour in 2007. I think I moved back to Leeds in 2009 and used to help out from time to time, because like I said, I couldn't get a decent job up here. So I'd help out from time to time in like reception and stuff like that. And then unfortunately in 2012, my dad died, and I became his primary carer when he had a very short illness. He had an aggressive form of cancer of the bile duct, cholangiocarcinoma. And because I was here in Leeds, and both Peter and I had been made redundant the month our youngest son was due to be born. We happened to be able to help Daddy out in the business before he got ill. So we were a bit more on hand then. Then when Daddy did get ill, I became his primary carer. And when we knew he was terminally ill, he asked if we would take on the business for him, and we said yes. And that's how I've gone from being the other kind of project manager to owning a family business, a funeral business.
My. It's like, I've got to say, like, that is a trippy story right there. Like, because like going from London to Spain, then back to Leeds, then like, kind of floating between the two, meeting like your now husband. It's like going like, to them running a funeral business. Okay. Like,
for a while there, it was like a really bad EastEnders script.
A
little bit extra, a little bit dramatic.
Yes.
But I feel that a lot of those life experiences just help me serve better. Help me have a little bit more understanding and be less judgmental and less argumentative, because you just never know, especially because you see me, what you see is what you get, right? So I'm a positive person, but then a person might be seeing me and I'll be like, oh, hi, how are you? And they don't know that I'm my dad's primary care and he's dying and my heart's broken. But I only really know how to smile. That's just how I function. So that's why I'm mindful of people not judging, because you just never know what people are going through. And unless you've walked in someone's shoes, You're just not gonna. And I say as well, even if you are an identical twin and you're sitting right next to your identical twin and you're both watching exactly the same thing, you're watching that same thing from slightly different angles, because you're not sitting in the same body. You're not seeing it exactly the same, and that's why I think you just, people go through things and it's relative from them individually. It's relative to them individually. So I hope that my experiences help me to serve people better.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. I agreed. Like, I think this year's hammered home, especially about people like not knowing what someone's going through. I think with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, when it was just like, okay, look, this is the thing. Like, I won't lie. When I heard, and like, yeah, when I heard, I was like a little bit misty eyed. And like when I heard the whole backstory of it,
yes,
yeah, I was extremely choked up. Because look, like, yes, like him having bowel cancer and stuff like this, and yet he put every single person first, and like he really like takes on a lot of what you say with the ethos of service. Like, this is the thing, serving those like kids who were diagnosed with cancer. Like, a couple of them passed, which like broke him down. Like him, like I think it was Charlene's like Sharon, like in his film 21 Bridges.
right.
He provided a little bit, like he gave some of her wages so she could actually be in the film. Like, this is one of the stories I've heard recently. So if I'm wrong about that, I hope I'm not, but yeah, he did that so she could be in it. But it was like every occasion, every opportunity, it was in the service of making things better for the people around him. It wasn't a case of like, okay, he could have easily went, yeah, I know how these kids are feeling because I got cancer too. And like, you know what I mean? And made it all about him. And like, you know what I mean? That's like, okay, but no, it was like, I'm here. These are the ways I can serve the best way. It's like, right, help these kids, help these people, help his former alma mater of like Howard University.
Yeah.
And like basically bit by bit. And like he remembers like the people who helped him along the way when like Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Basically paid for him to, I can't remember, it was to attend a course in London or it was something like that. But it was like, yes. And Denzel Washington was like, you're here to talk about the money you owed me. But like, and everyone jokes about it. Like this is the thing, like with regards to you talking about service of like, yes, service of the people around you, service of a community, service of like absolute strangers. I think more people actually need to like take that on, because I won't lie, like this is the thing, the next 2 years in like globally with regards to finance, economics, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And I think if we all take the sort of attitude of, we're in it, we're in it together, but no, it's not just all about myself. It ain't going to go far.
Yeah, that cannot be just a saying. That has to be a verb, man. That's got to be doing. You can't say you're in it together and then sit back and watch everybody doing all the hard graft and work while you're coining it in because you've given all your friends the contracts. You know, I think actions speak louder than words. And there's a saying that I have: I don't watch what people say, I watch what they do. I want to see what you're producing, not what you're telling me you're going to produce. Don't say we're in it together and then dress back. You know, just chill out. I need to see your works. Let me see. Show me.
Yeah.
You know, and in the meantime, while you're doing you, I'm going to do me, and I'm going to work to the very best of my ability, because that's my standard for me. You know, irrespective of the next person's standard or what they're promising, and they're talking about, you know, being in it together. We need to show that. There needs to be evidence of that.
No. Yeah.
So I for me, service, I've had to think really about legacy because of my dad dying and what he really wanted, and what he wanted his legacy to be was very clear, because when he found out he was terminally ill, the first thing he said was, please do not let my business die. Don't let my business die. And that really had quite a profound effect on me. I could have gone, oh, what? Right. So you're not really bothered about me and my baby and your other children. You're bothered about your bricks and mortar. And I knew it wasn't about that. I really knew it wasn't about that. He put his heart and his soul into the funeral parlor, and he'd become a community hero. He actually he won a community hero award as well. He was an award-winning funeral director, and it was really his calling. He'd come into his background was engineering, so it's completely different to what he'd done his training as a 15-year-old apprentice, and continued up through his career doing that. But he really was a gifted funeral director, and I'm having to think about, puts into perspective for me, what do we want to be our legacy? What do we want? And me and my sister and my husband, we've made sure that the business is secure, and it has been a passion of our heart. It's almost been a little bit like a shrine to Daddy, to say, you really cared, so we can't care any less. You've set the bar really high. It's not for us to come in and start lowering it now. We need to see if we can make it go higher and even better. And that was my father's legacy. And we know that, and the community up till now, they still say your dad was a great man, and that's heartwarming. We all have our legacies to leave. All of us have our legacies to leave. And I think as we become adults, we really need to consider, we really need to think, what will that legacy be? So you asked me before, how, I speak about different things professionally. And I've mentioned, that since the pandemic, I've spoken about so many different things. And I do motivational speaking, and I do talk about very, very different topics. So talking about end of life and dying matters is very different to speaking about Black Lives Matters, and what my experience is like here as a UK Black British woman who's a business person and who's done the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses and moved in different professional circles here in Leeds and nationally as well, and a little bit internationally because of the way Goldman Sachs works. So, when I do my motivational speaking, and I talk about the importance of legacy and the importance of love, loving absolutely everything we were, whether it's love of your partner, love of your children, love of, getting up early, love of exercise, if exercise is your bag. Exercise has to be a bit of a discipline for me because it doesn't come naturally, right? Love of your food, when you're eating your food. Yesterday, my husband Peter, he cooked some, oh my goodness, he cooked some ackee and callaloo. And he said, I was feeling a bit of the chilled day, so I decided to put a bit of curry in it. Yesterday was a fast day for me, so I do 2 days fasting a week. I do the 5-2. I don't know if you're familiar with that, intermittent fasting. But yesterday was a fast day, and I broke my fast with, oh my God, it was just the best ever. And I said to Peter, this is just like the best ever in my whole life. It's just the best. I made sure he knew how I was feeling about the food he had prepared for me, and I loved it. I loved every chew, I loved every grain of rice, I loved every atom of that callaloo mewa. I loved it like a professional, right?
Like a professional, like weeping with one hand, just picking up the fork with the other.
Yeah.
So happy. So happy.
Oh gosh, yes, thank you, Lord, for this ackee and this callaloo. Oh my goodness. I'm like, babe, this is the best ever.
Love it. Love that.
So, embracing love and making it a motto, and seeing how you can explore, what does it actually mean to love life? Like, not just theoretically, but like practically, what does it mean to love every single moment of your life? And if you're not loving every single moment of your life, how can you?
Mm.
What would you need to change in order to make that happen? So that when you draw your last breath, you can say, you know what? I've really enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed myself. And no one I came into contact with had any confusion as to how I felt about that interaction. Not true, Miwa?
Hey, no, look, you got no, like, hey, look, I say try to live life with as little regrets as possible. And look, this is the thing, living life without any regrets, okay. It's not an impossible, but if they are as small as possible, great. Like, yeah, but like living life to a joyful, like living life to your joyful moments, living life to those exciting adventures, living life for not just for the sake of living, but like sort of building something special. Like, look, with your dad, it was like building a legacy, which was that business. Like you mentioned legacy yourself.
Yeah.
And I think when people have sort of unfulfilled lives, like they're either missing one or two things. Like it might be excitement, it might be adventure, or it might be that sort of concept of legacy. And if you're missing those things, as long as you're breathing, you can make that happen.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Now, drawing on my supreme cosmic power, I don't have the small itty bitty living spaces. Yes, if I could grant you one wish, and you can't say more wishes because I have this all the time with people. No. No. Yeah, what would that one wish be?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I think it would probably be financial wealth, because I've got everything else. I've got absolutely everything else. It would be financial wealth because I want to be able to give more. I want to be able to give more. So I believe if you could put a man on the moon 50 years ago, it confuses me as to why everybody in the world does not have access to clean drinking water yet. And if I had the wealth, if I had the finances, I would make that happen. That would literally be my priority. It would be so that everybody has access to the basics. So definitely drinking water, definitely drinking water. The ability to plant food on land if they have access to land so that they can feed themselves and become self-sufficient. I would invest in programs like that, and it would be an investment, and I would not be expecting money back. I would want longevity and healthy lives. For me, I would count that return on investment in how healthy those people are, and how much I've increased their life expectancy. And it wouldn't be about they're dying longer, because I know all about that. It wouldn't be about their dying longer, no. It would be about their living full lives longer, healthy lives for a really much longer period of time. So yeah, wealth, I would be a proper philanthropist. I'd pull all the stops out, man. I'd wipe out poverty where possible. I would, because I know some places there's money in poverty, there's money in sickness. You know, even and I don't go for that. That goes against my core values, you see. So big pharma, that's an entirely different conversation. I would be making natural cures more widely available. You know, all of those things that increase quality of life. I would do that on a massive scale, and that takes money. And that's what I would do. I would take philanthropy to an entirely different level. That would be my wish, to have the financial ability to make that global impact and wipe out poverty, all those things. Yeah, that would be it.
You say that with determination and fiery look in your eyes. Loving it. Loving it. Okay, you know what? I'll get on to making that possible for you. Like, look, Like some of these cosmic wishes I've got to fulfill. Yeah, they don't happen just overnight. They take a little bit of time. I've got to finesse the universe. But yeah.
It's all good.
Excellent. I'm loving that, liking it a lot. Can you tell the lovely people out there how they can find you, how they can get in contact with you over the interwebs?
Right. Okay. So the easiest way is and most memorable way is motherofabundance.com. If you go to that website, in the top right hand side, you'll see my Instagram. You can click on that. You'll see my Facebook. You can click on that. You'll see Twitter. You can click on that. Twitter is Mother Abundance, at Mother Abundance. I think Instagram is Mother of Abundance. But yeah, and there's my podcast as well, which you'll get more of this. If you can deal with the fire hose that is Xina, you get more of this. I keep it real. You've gotten a little taster of me from here. I'm here to make your life just happier, but I do keep it real. I know that for a lot of people, it's not sunshine and birds singing and roses blooming, you know. So yeah, I think the podcast is doing quite well because this energy seems to translate quite well for people who want to listen to it. Yeah, so that's how you can contact me if you need help because you're bereft. Internationally, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you go to goodingfuneralservices.co.uk, we've got a lot of information there that helps people who are bereaved. We've got a lot, and again, that's a reflection of our drive and our need to provide service. So wherever you are in the world, if you need some support or anything, if you want to know a little bit about help, and our blog there as well has got some inspirational and uplifting information there for people as well, and even books. There's a book list there for people who were bereft. So that's goodingfuneralservices.co.uk. That's my family business too.
Oh, superb. Xina, I have to say, sorry to end it, but yeah, you have been a joy and a pleasure to have today on the show. And yes, no doubt I will get you back on in the future. Yes, awesome. So I say thank you, Xina. Have an awesome day. And let me say thank you to all of you, my friends, my life warriors who are still here right now. Have an excellent day. Have a fantastic week. Be awesome. Be excellent. Be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Oh yeah. Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And we are